if you're not doing what you want to be doing with your time, then a schedule is exactly what you need. This is because a schedule gives you something to stick to and a reference of what to do with your time. Because if you don't have a schedule, or like any kind of day schedule or week schedule, any rough kind of guide, then what you're doing is you're making your decisions of what you're going to do in the day as you go along. And this, trust me, this is the easiest way to waste time, because I like to call this empty time. Like, there's nothing in the time slot. So empty time is essentially time frame where you don't know what you're going to be doing. You haven't designated it to any task or any activity. And empty time is very dangerous, because if you have empty time, let's say between 6 and 7, you just don't know, you have nothing on your agenda. You could very easily just waste this time, because your brain doesn't know what's best for you all the time. So when 6 o'clock comes, your brain will like take the path of least resistance. It will do what's easiest at the moment, in the moment, and this is usually just wasting time by like watching YouTube or like scrolling on TikTok, because that's just easy in the moment. Instead of deciding for on a hard task to do and then doing it, that's a lot more difficult. So that's why you need a schedule, so you waste less time. So the first thing you want to do is, if you want to write down, just grab a piece of paper, and the first thing you just want to jot down a bunch of ideas of things that you want to dedicate your time to on your regular average day or week. Just think about what you want to achieve at the end of the week, and just write down anything that comes to mind, anything that you want to progress towards. Just write it down, even if it's small. It doesn't need to be like a huge a huge task. Just write them all on this sheet, like in a mind map or brainstorm kind of format. This isn't your final schedule, so don't worry. Just anything, just write it down. And then the next thing you want to do is, I prefer doing this on like sheets of paper, but you can use online things like, what are they called, Google Sheets and Excel. But I don't like them because they're just I like having a tangible copy, a piece of paper in my hand. So just get another sheet of paper, or you can just flip it over, and then divide it into columns for each day. So put Monday all the way up to Friday. I have my weekends planned separately because they change but Monday to Friday is consistent for me, because I go to school, and if you go to work, it's probably something similar. So divide it up into columns, and then first put in like fixed times, like stuff that happens every week, that regardless of the week. I mean, activities that just don't change. For example, school is the same time every week. If you take some form of lessons or like tutoring, just anything that's consistent, just block them in. Just write them, and just write the time next to it. It doesn't. You can put the time on the side and just write the activity in. It doesn't really matter. Any format that you understand is fine. And then you'll notice there's loads of gaps. So what you want to do is, you want to transfer the ideas from like the brainstorming sheet into this schedule. So we'll call this schedule your ideal week, and I'll get more into that on later, and why it's called your ideal week. But just slowly, just like literally just pick things that you've written, and then assign them chunks of time throughout your days and weeks to dedicate. It can be like from as little as half an hour, or like 2 hour chunks. It's fully up to you. It doesn't matter, as long as you're happy and you think that you're able to dedicate that much time to the activity. And make a what I like to do is, I like to go slightly over. So for example, I write runs, but then I dedicate them 1 hour. But it's better to go over your how long you think than under, so you don't get behind on your schedule that easily. Because if I do assign 1 hour to a run, but then I only take like 30 minutes, then I have extra time which I can just do other things in. But then if I dedicate less time and I overrun, then my schedule's just been pushed back, and it's kind of it's just ruined what I've wanted to do, so I'd have to compromise there. And then once you filled your uh yeah that's so once you filled your like ideal week in, you've got your ideal week. You need to understand that this is your ideal week for a reason. This is, if everything in this week goes according to plan, that'll be your 10 out of 10 week. But it's important to understand that this isn't going to happen every single week. It might not even happen once. But so you might ask, oh, what's the point of creating this timetable if I'm not going to follow it? The purpose of the schedule is to guide you. It's so you can use it as a reference point throughout your week. So you have more of a vision and more of an idea of what you're going to do when the time comes. Because as I said at the start of the video, if you have empty time, it will just go to waste. So if you fill your time with meaningful activities to you, you'll be a lot more productive in the day. And you need to understand that life does get in the way, and sometimes your schedule might like shuffle around, and you have to be willing to compromise. And don't beat yourself up if something out of your control happens, or like you get home late and you can't do anything you planned, because you couldn't change that, so it's not your fault. And just get up the next day and follow your schedule to the best of your ability. And if you keep doing this, you'll make a lot more progress towards what really matters to you, because you're not waiting for the time to come and then deciding, because this is the deciding point. Like the 5 seconds it takes for you to decide what activity you want to do is what it like splits your path. So the time you decide, and then whatever activity you choose to do the work, you'll go this way. If you choose to waste your time, you'll go in the complete opposite direction, and that's exactly what you don't want. And so my advice to you is, if you watch this whole video and you don't want it to be a waste of time for you, make your own schedule and stick it up on your wall, or like anything where somewhere where that you'll see every day, and you won't be able to miss it. Like, make it impossible to miss, and keep yourself accountable with this timetable. Just review it every day, and then see what you did and didn't do, and keep working towards your 10 out of 10 week every single day, and eventually you will get there. And that's all I have to say. So I hope this video could be helpful to you, and if it was, I'd appreciate if you liked and subscribed, because that would help me out. Thank you. Take care, man. Peace out.